And I'm going to start out today with a story that I know I've told in this class at least twice, but has come back to me lately because I'm reading this book by the Dalai Lama, and he tells this exact story. And I thought, oh, I've got to tell that again. And so I'll share that story with you because it's from Asia. And I feel like when I'm telling this story today, I am one with the Dalai Lama. True confession. So this story is called You Never Know. And it takes place in Asia. So once upon a yogi time, there was this vast valley. And at the end of the valley, there was this magnificent mountain. And in the valley, there lived this father and his son. And they worked their little farm together down there. And they were pretty well known in the village, even though they lived outside of town. And one day, while the father and son were working in their fields, they noticed that there was a horse wandering around in their field. And so they waited a day or two thinking that it would wander from whence it came. And it never did. And it just kind of parked itself on their property and never left. And so the son and father started using that horse to plow their fields and do things on the farm. And when the people in the village heard, they said, oh my gosh, that is so wonderful. That horse will be so helpful. And the father just kind of looked at the mountain and said, well, you never know. And so these three were working the farm together. And then about a month or two down the road, the horse disappeared and did not come back. And when the father shared that news with the villagers, they said, oh, that is so sad. And the father just kind of glimpsed at his mountain that gave him strength and inner courage. And he said, well, you never know. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, the horse came back to the farm, and he, because he was a male, brought with him a female, and we know where that goes. So now they had two horses, probably soon to have more. And when the farmer shared this news with the people in the village, they said, oh my gosh, that's just such good luck. You are so fortunate. This is wonderful. And again, the farmer kind of looked at the mountain and said, yes, but you never know. So one day, his son was out racing one horse, and then his best friend came over. And so they both raced these two magnificent horses up and down the valley. And the son fell off his horse and broke his leg. And so he was completely laid up. And when the farmer shared this news with the villagers, they went, oh my gosh, that's just so awful. And the farmer just looked at the distant mountain once again and said, well, you never know. I think he had a limited vocabulary. So, the son was laid up in the house, was not able to work or do anything to contribute to the livelihood of the farm. And then the next day, everybody heard all this noise and clatter as there was this big procession of people coming down the valley road and into the town. And it was the ruler's army. And they were on a mission that day. And so they were going to conscribe into the army anyone who could walk on two legs. And so when they came to the farmer and his son, they took one look at his son and they said, no way, Jose. Only it was probably in some Asian dialect. And with that, they left the town. And once again, the villagers said, oh my gosh, this is so fortunate for you. And the farmer just looked at the mountain and said, "You never know." So we live in those times of you never know, from day to day. The news that we hear and the things that are happening change so much still from day to day. And so like the surfer riding the wave, we have to find these tools that help us just to stabilize our inner being. And we hear stories of people who are just coming undone in these times. And so we have to anchor ourselves very firmly in a spiritual way and hold on to that anchor. And like this farmer in the story, how can we embrace this equanimity of mind, this evenness of mind, no matter what guest is at our door that day? You know, whether it's someone unfortunate, whether it's someone fortunate, how can we maintain that evenness of mind that this farmer had? You know, knowing that these things that come to us, you know, sometimes they're colored lightly and sometimes they're colored darkly. And no matter how they are in that spectrum of light, they are all there to help us on our journey in some very strange way, usually. So I wanted to share the story of you never know, to make sure that you have in your toolkit things, and that every day you have those things that you can hold on to that will steady your course as you go through life, which is still kind of rocky, but you never know. So today we'll start the class out with with breathing, because breathing is also bringing our awareness to the breath, is one of those things that help us manage those waves when they come. And so finding a comfortable position on the floor or on a chair or on a bed, and putting your legs in a comfortable position that will sustain this small breathing exercise. Closing our eyes and calling on that breath, inviting the breath. Feeling that breath as it comes into our picture of lungs. So it comes into the upper lung, then it comes into the middle lung, and then sometimes you can even pooch out your tummy a little bit as it comes into the lower recesses of the lung. Inhaling and inhaling that navel into the back before we start again. Inhaling at the top, feeling the middle, feeling the base, filling the lungs, and exhaling, pulling that navel in. Inhaling at the top, feeling in the middle, pooching at the bottom, exhaling, pulling the navel in. And one more time, inviting the breath in, the top, the middle, base, and exhaling the navel in. So sometimes when we get anxious, we do what's called reverse breathing. And whenever we engage that reverse breath, which is the breath pattern opposite of what we're practicing right now, it actually can trigger the nervous system in a very unfortunate way and cause anxiety or cause you to be off balance. So we always want to stick to what this is called the 3-part breath, having that awareness that just like filling a pitcher, that water is coming through the top, into the middle, and filling the bottom. And then exhaling the navel in. Watching that rhythm of the breath. Feeling those anxious concerns, those anxious thoughts just draining from the mind, draining from the body. This is a new way to drain your swamp. Inhaling in, feeling those 3 parts of your lungs, and exhaling. So the breath, being aware of the breath, also helps to move that lymph through the body. So lymph is part of that essential component of the immune system. So bringing that attention to the breath, bringing that attention to those muscles that you engage when you breathe is a booster for your immune system as well. So we'll invite one more breath. So as we release this last breath, we'll bring our, I have to scoot over a little bit, bring our arms up and over the head and exhaling down. We're going to exhale them down to the ground quite a ways away from the body. And again, breathing into the back body. Feeling that breath coming into the back. Coming in, you can almost feel it coming in right down to the glutes. Feeling the muscles contract and expand in the back. So especially if we're going to be working in that garden, we don't want any tightness to trip us up in the back. Breathing and expanding those muscles in the back. So in a way, we're almost going into a cat-cow formation here. Expanding the back, pushing back on the back, and then inhaling and letting the lungs fill up. Exhaling, and as we do this, we might even round the back a little bit. Coming forward. And one more time. Exhaling and rounding the back. And then bringing the arms up over the head. And then we'll turn to the side. So opposite hand comes down on this knee and we plant the other hand in our garden, which is behind us. Looking over the shoulder. And now we're going to do something dynamic with the neck. So as you inhale, bringing the head forward. And as you exhale, you turn the head towards your shoulder. As you're breathing in, the head rotates forward. And we exhale to the back. So the hands stay in place. And once more as we inhale, looking forward and back. Bringing a little bit of dynamicity into the twist, lifting those wings up, coming to the other side. While I scratch my nose and plant my hand in my garden. Inhaling, looking towards the front. So we're twisting the neck a little. Exhaling, coming behind. Inhaling, turning the head. Exhaling behind. You can really feel that twist when you're moving from front to back. Inhaling to the front And one more time, exhaling to the back. Holding that position for just a moment. And then lifting those wings, coming to the front. And we're going to come into tabletop. So unfolding the legs out. Into tabletop. And then we're going to lift those knees, walking those hands back towards the feet. Placing those feet hip width apart. Inhaling up. Coming up into Tadasana. So as we come into Tadasana, bringing the hands to the heart. Pressing those feet into the earth. Taking a stand on Mother Earth. Anchoring your feet into the earth. And once again, we begin breathing into our mountain. So every time you breathe and bring your attention to that breath, it's like you're reclaiming your inner voice. It's like you're establishing that connection with that inner spirit. With that inner divine. Breathing in. Breathing out. Then we'll sweep the arms down and over the head. And then we're going to swan dive down to our feet. So you can bend those knees a little bit to get the hands to the feet. Inhaling and coming up. Remembering how we belong to the sky. Exhaling and coming down. Remember how we also belong to the earth. Inhaling, coming up one more time. Coming to the sky. And exhaling down to the earth. Coming slowly, slowly down. Inhaling up. And so this time we're going to do the fountain. So with the fountain, you might turn to the right with both arms up and come down that leg. So you're coming outside of the ankle and then you're turning to cross in front of your toes, making a crescent moon circle and coming up on the other side. Shifting around, gentle back bend, then we're going to come around to our original position. Coming down to the feet. Circling over past the toes. Seeing if you see any dust bunnies down there. And then inhaling up. Gentle back bend. And then we'll come down again. So this time as we come to the feet, we're going to stop. Because we're going to go the other direction. Coming up, gentle back bend. Exhaling down, down, down. Coming across the feet. Scanning the feet and inhaling back up. Gentle back bend, shifting and coming to the side. And to the bottom, and then we'll come around one more time. Inhaling, coming up. And exhaling as we come down. And as we come down this time, we're going to bring the hands into the elbows and just hang over the feet. So here you can bend the knees a little bit. Breathing in, breathing out. As we relax, maybe with the tummy on the legs, the upper thighs. inhaling those arms all the way up. So as we come up, we're going to widen the stance so that it's fairly wide because we're going to do a lunge. So with the lunge, we'll lunge to one side and this leg will be straight. And then we'll lunge to the other side. You're trying to maintain that vertical position with the body as we lunge from side to side. My knee is going to talk to me the whole time we do this. So as we lunge to the right, we're going to grab that apple of light from the tree and put it in our pocket. And as we lunge the other direction, the hand crosses the body. So we're grabbing those apples of light and sticking them in our pockets. Crossing the body, leaning forward on a little bit of a diagonal as we grab those little globes of light and put them in your pocket. Maybe you're grabbing a falling star. Isn't that a song?
Catch a falling star and
Put it in your pocket, save it for a rainy day. I knew you would remember that for me, Jen. So that's what we're doing.
I haven't been singing much.
Good enough. So we'll grab 2 more stars and put them in our pockets. And since we're already filled with shining stars, we're going to bring our arms up into 5-pointed star. And smile and shine away. Picturing yourself in that dark sky, and yet we're smiling. Twinkling so we can wiggle the fingers. If you're feeling particularly brave, you can wiggle your toes. And then we'll come back to standing. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in. Listening to that inner drummer. So bring those hands over your head, bending in the knees. So the torso is coming forward a little bit in a diagonal as we come into lightning pose. Breathing in and breathing out as we're in a semi-squatting position. Becoming that force of nature with that lightning energy coming in through the fingertips, through the torso, and out the legs. Breathing in, breathing out. Then we'll bring the back into a more vertical position, straight up and down. Bringing the arms in front like the arms of a chair. And we're still bending in those knees. Pulling the tailbone in. Assuming that position of a chair. So we're not reaching with the hands, they're just kind of there. So I'm not sure that chairs reach. I think their arms are just there. Breathing, connecting with that breath. Then straightening the legs, bringing the hands to the Namaskar Mudra, which is the mudra of peace, the mudra of connection. And then we're going to turn towards the side, doesn't matter what side, and we're going to bend those knees again and fold. So as we come down, the opposite elbow is coming towards the opposite knee. As we send that greeting of peace to all living beings on this side, coming down into that squat, strengthening the legs, inhaling and rising up, turning towards the center. Breathing in, breathing out, and then we'll turn towards the other side and squatting down, bringing the opposite elbow near the knee, not touching, and sending those wishes of peace to all living beings on this side. Inhaling towards the center, coming up with the arms. And this time we're going to exhale the arms all the way down. We're going to bend the knees again and rest the chest on the knees as we bring the arms behind us, palms down. So now we're on the top of that ski chute, getting ready to ski down that mountain, 100 miles per hour. Sure, we're ready for that. And here we go. So we're going to bring the arms down, coming back up, coming into Tadasana. So we're going to do that series one more time, bringing the arms above the head, coming down into lightning. So we're bending those knees and we're trying to track those knees straight ahead. Coming into diagonal with the upper torso. And we're smiling for no reason at all. Breathing in, connecting with the breath. And then coming into chair, so we're pulling that tailbone way in, but we're still coming down in the knees, still squatting. Bringing that torso so that it's up and down. Embodying the spirit of the chair. We usually don't think of our furniture as living beings, but in that world of yoga, they are deserving of our care. Coming up, once again, straightening the legs, bringing the hands over the heart. And again, we're going to turn towards the right. Exhale, bending the knees, bringing that opposite elbow towards the knee, but not connecting totally. Sending those peaceful thoughts to all beings. Inhaling and pumping back up to center. And then turning this namaskar to the other side. And bending down into a squat. Om Mani Padme Hum. Inhaling, coming up to center. Bringing those arms over the head, and then we're going to swing them down. Squatting again. Bringing the chest to the knees. Arms behind, palms down, stretched out. As we get ready to zoom down that ski chute once again. Inhaling back up and bringing those hands to the heart. And closing the eyes as we once again connect with the breath and connect with the heart. And then we'll take that right or the left hand up, sorry. And the other hand goes behind in front of the body as we curve to the side, making that I Ching symbol once again. Leaning to the side, breathing in, breathing out. Couple of times. Inhaling in to a T formation, and then we're going to do this again on the other side. The I Ching again is that symbol of light and darkness. We're embracing both of them at different times of our lives. Speeds us along our journey. Inhaling, folding out into a T, and exhaling, one above, one under, and curving those hands in the I Ching again. Embracing the darkness, embracing the light. Coming out, unfurling into a T again. And we're going to come into the I Ching one more time. Sometimes when unfortunate things come my way, I read them with a smile. Unfurling and bringing the hands into Namaskar Mudra. That wish of peaceful existence. I think it was Gandhi who said, there is no way to peace, the way is peace. So embracing that peace where we can find it. Taking that stand on Mother Earth and remembering that we're just visitors. Then we'll invite our bodies into a warrior stance. So this is brave warrior that we're doing today. So the front foot is coming directly in front of the body. The back foot is on a diagonal behind the body. We're squaring those hips towards the front. And then coming up with both our hands. Exhaling into that front knee. So the elbow is up. The left arm is up to the side. And we're looking straight ahead. Pressing those feet into the earth. Anchoring into the earth. And we're going to exhale the arms to the opposite side. Being one-pointed, being focused on the journey and staying on that spiritual path. Sinking down into that front knee. Turning the arms the other way again. Feeling yourself being one with the earth. And then this time we're going to move the arms to the other direction, and that back arm is going to keep going backwards and rest on the middle of the back. As we return to the side. Breathing in, breathing out. And we'll sweep the arms, scanning that landscape as we bring them towards the center. Oh, I'm hugging all of you right now. And then we'll bring the arms above. So the arms are not in a high noon position, they're more a little bit down. Bringing the hands to the heart. And then to the front hip, because we're going to bring that back leg up to the front. So leaning forward, we're going to bring that foot up. So the feet are together. And coming up into that resting pose, Namaskar. Reclaiming that inner voice. Reclaiming that relationship that we want to strengthen. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then once again, we'll position the legs with our lead foot, the other foot this time in front, and the back leg on a diagonal. At a distance that is good for you. Squaring those hips to the front of the room. And then once again, bringing those arms to the side, sinking, exhaling into that front knee. Embodying that spirit of the brave warrior, being determined, being one-pointed, to stay in the light, to stay on the sunny side of the street. And then we'll rotate the arms to the other side. Holding the elbow up. Holding the arm up, sinking into that front knee. Breathing and chewing gum and spitting tobacco at the same time. And then we'll change to the other side. Breathing, staying focused. And then coming around to the other side one more time. And then that arm is going to keep going, so the body will turn with that arm. And the hand will come to the back of the waist. Sometimes the legs will straighten a little bit as we come to the side. Giving the body a little twist. And then once again, we'll throw those arms out to the side, both arms, and they'll scan the landscape as they come forward and up. And again, not straight up, but on a diagonal. So we're kind of like reaching out to each other, connecting. Bringing the hands to the heart. Just a short stopping space because we're going to take them all the way down to the thigh. Leaning forward to scooch and bringing that back foot up. So having both the feet next to each other. And the hands once again to the heart. Breathing in. So next we're going to do a dancer. So we'll come over to a wall that's near you. And come into a sideways position to that wall. So you're horizontal to the wall. And the inside arm closest to the wall will send up the wall. And then the outside foot, we're gonna kick forwards and backwards a few times. Kind of warming it up because we're gonna come into dancer. So the side of the hand can be into the wall. And then we'll bend that knee and bring that foot into the hand, or you can just bend the knee. Into dancer pose. Most important part is, of course, lifting the foot off the ground. Working out that base leg. Coming into your inner dancer. Straightening up the body, pulling in those abdominals. Pulling in that tailbone. Pulling in the navel. And pulling in that chin. And if you want to, you can sweep that arm forward a little bit. And then back. Lowering the foot to the floor and maybe shaking out the feet a little bit. After being in touch with your inner dancer. And then we'll turn to the other side. Lining up the feet so that they're horizontal to this wall and sneaking that hand up the side of the wall. And then again, before we get into it, we're going to shake that knee and foot. Kicking the knee forward, kicking the knee backwards. And then eventually maybe it'll go into that hand or near that hand. And straightening out that body, pulling in that tailbone, pulling in the abdominals, pulling in the chin. And once again, you can be in this straight pose so that base knee is a little bit bent. You don't want to lock the chi or the prana. And then once again, you can slide that arm forward if you choose. And if the foot is in your hand, you can push against that arm. Coming back to center. Locking up all those gates in the neck, the navel, the abdomen, and coming down. So shaking out those feet and legs again, and we'll come up one more time. So positioning yourself next to a wall, sliding the hand up the wall, kicking your leg forwards and backwards, and coming into your favorite expression of dancer. Trying to soften that base knee, just a scooch. Connecting with the breath. And again, you might want to scoot that arm forward or not. You may feel you're in a position where you can come away from the wall, focusing on a point. Maybe spreading the fingers of that elevated arm to receive all those good vibes out in the universe. And then lower that foot down to the earth. And then we'll shake them both out again as we turn with the dance. Coming into the horizontal position next to the wall. Sliding that arm up the wall. Warming up your leg for the big bend. And bending that knee. Bringing the foot near your hand or in the hand. And choosing whatever expression of the dancer you would like to choose today. The moving dancer, the upright dancer, softening that base joint in the knee. Trying to listen for that cosmic rhythm. How can we be effective and meaningful dancers and joining in that rhythm? Maybe you're looking to see if you can come out from the wall on this side. Stretching your fingers apart. And bringing that leg down. And kicking the feet away from you. So then we'll come down to the ground. With the soles of the feet together. And the hands resting on top or under those feet. As we take a moment to center ourselves in our inner turtle. It is a spiritual practice to stop before you speak, to try to think before you speak. And I love what the Sufis say. The Sufis also say to be careful about your words. I think it's the Bhagavad Gita that says people recuperate from a sword wound easily, but to recuperate over words hastily said takes much longer. The Sufis say, ask yourself 3 questions. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And that's where it's tricky because the ego tries to tell us that things are necessary when sometimes they're not. So how can we move from that place of being ego-centered to being universal family-centered? Rounding the back. Maybe painting your back with the colors of the turtle you want to be today. Coming back, walking the hands up the legs, coming into a comfortable position for you. And today we're going to do the figure eights that lie on their side. I think this is the sign of infinity. And we're going to take our nose and we're going to hook it into that track of making figure eights with the nose. So bringing it into the center, and as it comes down, looping around, coming up high, coming to the center, looping it down. Oh, there's a song that goes like that. Here we go, loop-de-loo. Here we go, loop-de-lie. Inhaling as we come up, exhaling as we come down. Exhaling down, inhaling up. So we're creating a little dance here. Oh, while we do this, I should tell you a story. So I saw this on TV, these keepers of some wildlife safari somewhere. They had to, for the winter, move this rhino 4 fields over through 4 gates into the field where she would winter outside. Oh, this must be California. And so she was also 9 months pregnant, had a few more months to go. And so they were, cheering her on, and she was running and following the truck. I think she was running at 30 miles per hour or something. When she hit the 3rd gate, she started making this exact motion with her head. Her head started going from side to side. And then you heard both the keepers say, uh-oh. And it's a harmless head gesture. What could possibly go wrong? And they said, when she does that, it means she's not going to do anything you want her to do. And she stopped dead in her tracks. They eventually got her going, but I should call this the rhino nose. Because this is when they don't want to do that. Making that figure eight with your nose and neck. And then as we come to the center this time, we can both go I'll go like this. No way, Jose. Then we're going to bring our hands to our shoulders for the elbow circles. So first bringing the elbows forward, getting into those shoulders, trying to bring those elbows close to each other when they're in front. Oh, see, I have a shoulder that pops every time in this. So we are not symmetrical beings, even though we think that we are. Loosening those shoulders. We'll go around one more time, and this time we'll go backwards. Coming together in the front. Getting into that shoulder girdle. This is a good one to do when you're gardening. Coming up and letting those arms fly as we turn to either direction, opposite hand on opposite knee, and bring that twist into the back. Inhaling those wings up, twisting around towards the front and passing, because we want to go to the other side again. Looking over the shoulder. Inhaling the wings up, coming front and center and passing. You never know when that bluebird that you hold in your heart is going to come and sit on your shoulders. So we're waiting for it to come. Inhaling those wings up, and then we're going to twist all the way to the other side and look on that shoulder and see if it's there. And inhaling the arms up and to front and center, and then bringing the hands down. So I said in my email, we're going to do something later with the straps. So I hope everybody has a strap or a belt or something nearby, because we're going to be doing that in the second half of the program. In this half, we're going to do an asana called Dirga Pranam. And some people will put a blanket under their knees because we're coming into a kneeling pose. Or I actually like to put the blanket behind my knees. And that really does it for me. So we'll come into a low kneel or a high kneel. I think I'm going to change my position just a little bit. I'm going to start in the high kneel, bringing both arms up. We're going to keep the right arm up, and the left arm is coming behind us in that I Ching again. The knees are a little bit apart, so hip width apart. Exhaling, we're bringing this front hand down to the floor, sliding it away from the body, and then bringing it back just a scooch so we're not hyperextending the arm. Resting our forehead in the arm, or in the floor. Word salad. And dropping the hand open, so letting any anxieties, any frustrations go at the foot of the universe, at the foot of the mountain. And then pressing into the floor with the hand coming all the way up. So this activates all those glutes. And then we're going to switch those arms around into a T and go into the I Ching on this side. So one hand behind, one hand in front, exhaling and coming down. So bringing that hand into the earth, having it go away from the body, and then come a little bit back so it's not hyperextending. Laying the hand flat, letting things go. Releasing them. And then pushing off with that hand, keeping the arm near the head. And then we're going to scooch out that other arm that's behind us so that both arms are over the head. And we're going to do this once again. As we come down, both hands, it's like they're plowing through the hard soil of the eagle. Laying that ego bare. Dropping the hands open. And just letting go. Turning the hands so they're palms down. And a little closer to the head, pushing off. Bringing those arms close to the head. And then we're going to shine all the way down. So we're going to do this one more time from either a high kneel or a low kneel, bringing those arms up over the head, both arms, exhaling them both down and sliding them, plowing them through that earth of the Ido and laying the hands flat. So releasing troubles, releasing worries, releasing our attachment to certain outcomes, drawing those hands back into the head, palms down, pushing off, bringing those arms close to the head, and shining all the way down. We're radiant beings. Bringing the hands to the heart. Coming all the way down into tabletop. So let me move my blanket. We'll come down into tabletop, coming down for cobra. Bringing our hands to either side of our head. The feet can be a little bit apart. Inhaling and coming up, raising the torso and the hands into cobra pose. And then exhaling slowly, slowly down. Taking a complete round of breath. And then once again, raising the hands, raising the torso, looking down at the earth. Breathing through the belly. And exhaling and slowly coming down. And then you can come up again into whatever version of cobra suits you best. Keeping those elbows close to the body. As we come up, remembering to see the one in the many and the many in the one. That divine energy is everywhere. Exhaling, coming down. Slowly, slowly. Taking a round of breath or two, and then we'll come up one more time. Feeling your chest is like a sail. So the shoulders are spread wide. And then exhaling slowly, slowly back down. Bringing the hands to stack on top of each other underneath the forehead. As we snuggle into Mother Earth once again. Focusing on the breath and connecting with the breath. So you can feel that 3-part breath even when you lay on your chest up to the floor. Feeling all 3 sections fill. Do one more round of breath till we come up. And then bringing our hands near our shoulders, pushing up on our knees and our hands. And as we come once more into a kneeling position, we're going to do the rabbit pose, the hare, Shashankar. So the knees are hip width apart. We can do this in the high kneel position. So as we float down, so the hands follow the thighs down, the head comes down, then we go around the knees, and the hands go to the ankles, and the top of the head comes into the earth. Breathing into that top of the head, into the wisdom center. Wrapping those hands around the legs and pulling yourselves up. So the hands come towards the knees and up to the body. So we'll try that again, coming down. And the hands go around to the ankles and we come down to the top of the head. So the hips are up in the air. They are not down towards the heels, they're up. Grabbing onto those legs, pulling your body up. The hands come to the knees, and then they come all the way up to the hips. So we'll do this 2 more times, exhaling. Hands go down to the knees, over to the ankles, and the head comes down. Massaging the brain and the gray matter, all those things that make us go. Grabbing onto the leg and pulling yourselves up by the legs, and then there's a little bit of abdominal action with that one. And then we'll come down one more time. Exhale, the hands are coming towards the knees and around, and the crown comes down. Grabbing onto the legs, inhaling and coming up. So then we'll bring our hands down and come into a cross-legged position again. And we're going to go straight on to the back. So this is where you can grab your strap. And come onto the back. Bringing your strap or belt or whatever you have and placing it over the arch of your foot. Grabbing that strap with both hands and pulling the leg towards the head. Boy, this is a big stretch for those glutes. And exhaling, releasing it up to the sky. And then once again, we're going to pull it down towards the head and up to the sky. Making a flat foot there, pressing through the foot and the heel, and then back down to the chest and up. So from this position, we can start those hip circles on the ceiling, crossing over the body. So making sure that they have a pretty good diameter. And those circles or spirals will get bigger and bigger. So there may come a point where you want to straighten your leg. That's on the floor. So you can make those ginormous circles with the hip as it crosses the body. Comes out the other side. And then at some point you want to change directions and go the other way. You can do this with one hand or both hands. Just getting that full rotation with that hip. And then finally bringing that leg up to the ceiling. And while we're here, we're going to stretch this leg across the body and as close to the floor as we can get it. And just hang out there. And you might want to, oh, my hip really likes it when I roll my hand around it. It just doesn't seem to hurt as much. Stretching those gluteus muscles, and then bringing that leg up to the sky, and then taking it down to the other side as far as it will go. And then bringing that leg up to center, flexing the foot, flexing the heel, pressing the toes so that the foot's pointed, pressing the heel so it pulls those muscles on the back of the leg. And then we'll lower that puppy to the floor. And as it comes to the floor, we'll pull our strap out, leg, let go of the strap. And then try the same on the other side. So we're going to try with bringing this foot to the ceiling, wrapping that strap around it, and initially pulling it towards the chest. And then releasing it to the ceiling, pulling it towards the chest. Releasing it to the ceiling. And then pulling it towards the chest again, really stretching these upper thigh muscles. And releasing it. So once again, we can start those little circles, building that spiral up. Feeling that rotation, that orbit of the leg as it crosses over the body, getting that maximum stretch. So making that ginormous circle pretty high with the foot coming near the head, and as it rotates down towards that other foot, so the leg straightens. And then it might bend a little bit as it comes up and crosses the body and goes around. Getting that stretch in. And then again, we'll want to change directions. Sometimes your hip talks to you. It's good to have a conversation. And then at some point, we'll bring the foot up to the ceiling and take it to one side of the body as far as we can go. And then you want to support it with the hand, of course. And in one direction, you get a stretch in the groin. And in the other direction, you get a stretch of the glute muscles. So breathing into that stretch. And then bringing that leg up to center and crossing it the other direction. Breathing into the traffic jam that is sometimes there. And then bringing the foot up to the ceiling and then down to the ground and extracting the strap from that leg. Coming into a bent leg position. And we're gonna do, excuse me, a round of the bicycle. So the bicycle, we can either raise the legs up into the air from where we are, or we can stack the hands, palms right on top of each other, palms facing downward, which gives the hips a little lift while we do the bicycle. Or you can bring up your whole glute and come off the floor and do the bicycle in a half shoulder stand. So whichever position you would prefer. Picking one of those variations and lifting those legs up. And so we're doing this with the right foot, with the pressing out through the heels on those pedals. And we might even be curling the toes a little bit towards our head. So really stretching out the foot. Engaging all those muscles in the feet. And then we're going to try bringing that left leg all the way down to the ground and up. And then the right leg will go all the way down to the ground and up. And we're going to do that a couple of times. Lowering each leg down. That engages the abs when we invite it back up. So it's kind of like we're taking giant steps. And then this time we're going to lower both legs down, both legs up. And we're going to do that again. Both legs up. And then we're going to return to the bicycle. Daisy, Daisy. Then we'll go backwards on our bicycles. Going backwards, not thinking too much about it, just letting that muscle memory hopefully settle in. Bringing both legs up. Then we're going to bring both our hands up, bringing them in down the center, in between our legs, wrapping around our ankles, and doing happy baby from side to side. Woohoo! Rolling out the back. And then bringing those legs down. So we're getting ready for Shavasana. So you might have the knees bent or the knees straight. So whichever is your preference, that's what you'll be doing today. So we'll come into Shavasana. Coming back into breath awareness. So Shavasana is that time when we invite the sacred back into our hearts. So anytime we come into a relaxing position and connect with the breath, it silences that negative voice in our head and allows some spaciousness for the inner positive voice to rise to the surface. As I said earlier, it drains our swamp. Breathing into Mother Earth. Breathing with Mother Earth. Breathing with that rhythm of the cosmos. And now, Kevalam, Baba now, Kevalam. May you be in that cosmic dance of darkness and light with evenness of mind. Namaskar. Thank you for coming.